And so I lied. And so I lied. Hey, yeah. And so I lied. And so I lied. Hey, yeah.
제발 오늘만큼은 여기 있어줘 그냥 아무
Okay, so the first opinion is that if a girl group or a boy group are coming from a smaller company, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be bad. And if a girl group or boy group are coming from a bigger company, that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be good. Now, what I mean to say by this is that just because a group comes from a smaller company, that doesn't mean they're going to have bad MVs all the time, bad quality songs, low quality and stuff. Sometimes groups do have, low quality at debut and then they get better quality for their comebacks. Like if you look at My Darling, they debuted with Dramatic, which had an amazing MV and an amazing song, but the vocal editing could have used work, and the MV was a little bright in some scenes. And then when they had their comeback song, it was so amazing because the MV was much better. Even though it was mostly dance performance, it was still a higher quality MV. The song had better vocal editing and stuff. And there's so many groups that have low quality debuts but have comebacks that are much more higher quality. Like if you look at I See You with the debut Cupid, that song had an amazing song, but the MV was a little bit on the lower side. And then if you look at Me by ICU, their comeback song in 2021 when they debuted in 2019, the song was so well produced and the MV looked so much more better. So for y'all to think that smaller groups from smaller companies are going to be bad, because I've seen people call smaller groups flops and call their MVs cheap because they come from smaller companies. So just because the MVs are not up to the standard that you want, that doesn't mean you go on calling them flops or cheap or calling their debuts cheap or comeback cheap or anything. The MVs are perfectly fine. You just don't know how to appreciate it. And for bigger groups coming from bigger companies, that doesn't necessarily mean that if they come from bigger companies, they're always going to have a good song. Like if you look at Kepler and IVE, I honestly thought that IVE's 11 was the best big company debut of 2021, a popular debut. But I got tired of it so quickly that I regret my decision of making that the best debut of 2021. And for Kepler, I was so excited for the debut because it had Eugene and Yeseo, both who were from CLC and Busters, my favorite groups. And because of that, I wanted to stand Kepler, and also because of Running by Hihi because she's so cute. And because of this, I wanted to stand Kepler and stuff, and I changed my channel to a Kepler theme. But then when Kepler debuted with Va Da Da Da, I did not like the song at all. It was such a disappointment. So what I'm trying to say is that bigger groups don't necessarily always have the best quality in their music, and smaller groups don't necessarily have the worst quality in their music. Stop trying to assume a group just because their budgets are different, and just because bigger groups can afford high quality and smaller groups cannot afford that high quality. There will always be smaller groups releasing amazing quality music, and there will always be bigger groups releasing bad quality music. Now what I mean to say is that there will always be bops coming from the smaller company groups, and there will always be bad music coming from big company groups. There will always be a group or two from smaller companies releasing amazing music that people bop to, but there will also always be a bad song coming from a bigger group. Small company groups don't always have bad quality, and bigger company groups don't always have good quality. So stop assuming a group just because of their budget. And just because bigger groups have the budget, that doesn't mean they're going to have amazing quality all the time. And just because a smaller group doesn't have a budget, that doesn't mean all small groups are going to release bad songs. I know plenty of small company groups that have lower quality MVs or amazingly short MVs, but they also have amazing songs. So stop assuming a group just because of their budget. Okay, so the next opinion is not facts. Please take it with a grain of salt. This is just my thoughts, and I do not stand by this. So the next opinion is that if JYP didn't work with Niziu to debut them with Sony Music Japan, and if JYP wasn't involved in the Niziu project, and Niziu was debuted by another company, preferably a Japanese one, and if Niziu was debuted by someone else, they wouldn't have gotten the amazing views they have now, debuted under JYP and Sony Music Japan. Now the reason why I say this is because when K-pop stars listen to J-pop, most of them listen to J-pop songs released by K-pop artists, and the ones that actually do listen to J-pop as in Japanese artists are very few in the K-pop fandom. For me, I actually listen to J-pop, that is actual J-pop artists, not on the daily and not a lot of them, but I do listen to a good amount of J-pop artists. So if Nizu didn't debut on the JYP, I probably would have found them if they, had good amount of views and I discovered them. So for me, I feel like if Nizu wasn't a part of this JYP and JYP didn't have the Nizu project and the Nizu project was done by someone else, K-pop stars wouldn't know them as much and they wouldn't have gotten such high views. They probably would have reached, maybe 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million views and not the amazing views that they have now. So that's why I think that if JYP wasn't involved in the Nizu project, they wouldn't have gotten these amazing views and K-pop stars wouldn't have known them as much. Now, the next opinion is about repetitive opinions in K-tubers. What I mean to say is that when people make, unpopular K-pop opinions videos, their opinions don't even seem unpopular because, a lot of K-tubers are saying the same opinions over and over again. And I feel like if people, checked out more artists, checked out more groups and, checked out the world of K-pop besides just those handful of groups that they listen to or check out or handful of solos that they listen to and check out, maybe then they can have a better view of K-pop even more and have different, opinions and stuff that are not repetitive and that are new and fresh and original. For me, I actually, when I dived into underrated K-pop, I got so many more, opinions on my channel that are new and fresh and original. And, I have had a much more open view of K-pop, meaning having more thoughts, more opinions, more stuff. The more I notice things in big groups, smaller groups, big soloists and smaller soloists, and big artists and anything, or big companies, small companies. So I have different opinions about K-pop now because I listen to different artists and check out different artists. So if people just listen to and checked out different artists in K-pop, then maybe they would, have more opinions that are different and can say different things about different companies, big or small, different artists, big or small, and wouldn't have to say the same repetitive opinions again and again, which leads it to not be unpopular. Like, why is the title called Unpopular K-pop Opinions if people are just recycling other opinions? And basically, if more people are saying the same opinions over and over again, then basically it just turns to popular K-pop opinions, not unpopular. Like, how is it unpopular if you're just using an opinion someone else used on their channel, then someone else used that same opinion on their channel, so 3 or 4 people used it on their channel, so it's not unpopular then.
Don't mind me. My family just came home, and I cannot record my real voice for the next 2 opinions. Anyways, maybe I'm just a little crazy with this next opinion, but people call out idols for racism, CA and other things. But nobody cares as much when idols wear crosses in their MVs as an accessory. I'm a Christian, and I just noticed this. I know that a lot of idols are Christian, be it Catholic, Protestant or any Christian, but there are idols like, for example, Liza of Blackpink who wore a cross in the Boombaya MV, and she's not even Christian. I mean, yes, it was the company who may have picked it for her for the MV, but maybe she should have known better. I'm okay if people want to respect religions and wear religious artifacts. But some of the crosses that I've seen idols wear, examples, Lisa in Boombaya, Haeyeon in Solia's Dream, I don't even know her religion, since her profile doesn't mention it, looked more like an aesthetic cross than a religious cross. Because it looked more like an accessory. I'm not trying to be hateful to anyone, but if K-pop stans spend time calling and trying to bring the attention of the idol to apologize for CA or racism, why can't they do the same for idols who wear crosses or anything that is religious or sacred to a religion? The last opinion, which is not facts, so don't take this opinion seriously because I don't stand by this, of the day is that, do K-pop stans really care about an idol? Or do they just care for them, because they feel like they have to? Like when idols get hated on for being ugly. Like I've seen many people, K-tubers add opinions praising the idols who get hate for literally anything. Like when people say X idol deserves an apology, or people did X group dirty, or X idol isn't ugly. I'm just wondering if most of these K-tubers who say it, actually mean it, or do they just say it, because they feel obligated to say it? IDK. Just a thought. Don't take this opinion seriously.
Hey Sam, please don't look this way. Oh Sam, I don't want your heart.